Here's the really bad news, the biggest story in the NBA. The Lakers fear they could be without LeBron James for a substantial period of time. The foot injury he suffered Sunday against the Mavericks, he was able to finish that game, but then Woj with the reports yesterday, and he joined us earlier this morning, Woj did, with the very latest on LeBron and the prognosis.
Even with a Laker team that has, according to ESPN's analytics, the easiest remaining schedule, certainly an uphill climb to get into the postseason, and uncertainty about not only when LeBron James might be able to return this season, but if he'll be able to return. I think there'll be a clear view on the extent of the injury and a potential timeline here shortly. But the fear is LeBron James will be out several weeks.
So Zach Lowe with us this morning, as is Monica. And, you and I were here together yesterday when anyone who watched the game or we did the highlight yesterday, you heard him say, I heard a pop. And so maybe the simple fact that he got up and finished the game is really the surprising part in all of this. The injury did not look good in the moment, and now this is devastating news.
I think the post-game, Greeny, you heard him talk about the urgency of that particular game, and so he does something for the short term that perhaps, and we see now, is not beneficial for the long term. But that is the predicament that this Lakers squad is in. They need everything from LeBron James to make any sort of postseason aspiration come to fruition. And unfortunately, there's only several weeks left in the season, and so this completely, in my mind, decimates what they were trying to do. I will say, silver lining, it is a big opportunity for Anthony Davis.
Tomorrow is the 1st of March, so if you sort of doing the math in your head, April 9th is the last day of the NBA regular season. So, yeah, there are only several weeks left to go. Zach, for the audience just joining us here, how do you quantify the significance of this injury?
Gigantic, enormous, devastating. Look, there's no silver lining here, and there's no complex analysis here. If LeBron James is out for most of the rest of the season, the Lakers are done. It's over. They're not going to be able to make up ground to make the playoffs. They just can't replace him, and that's not rocket science. Even if he's out for just 10 games, that's half the season. If they go 3-7 or something, their season is probably over if some of those losses are the teams in front of them. And unfortunately, this is kind of baked in a little bit to the Lakers roster construction. LeBron is 37. He's second all-time in minutes. He's been hurt almost every year that he's been on the Lakers. Anthony Davis has been hurt almost every year he's been on the Lakers. This is why you can't mess around in the first half of the season with a team that doesn't make sense and can't win enough games, because there's always adversity waiting around the corner. And unfortunately, this hits at exactly the wrong time when the Lakers finally had a team that made sense.
So, Zach, I agree with you 100%. I do want to go to the silver lining point I made before you started talking, because to me, just hear me out, if you're a Laker fan and Anthony Davis can give you 20 strong games that give you a little bit of confidence in him moving forward into next season and still get you to the play-in, 6th seed is probably out of the question, but still to the play-in, I think you do take that. Not that that is something that such a storied franchise is particularly thrilled about, but I think that's the best you get down the stretch at this point.
Can AD carry them, Zach?
He can carry them somewhat, and like Monica said, 10th is not out of the question given what, Utah traded at the deadline, what Portland traded at the deadline, Oklahoma City slumping, New Orleans can't win any games. 10th, 9th even is not out of the question, but it's going to be hard for them to derive offense without LeBron. AD is basically a finisher around the basket. Who's going to set him up for those plays now? It's going to be a tough uphill battle, but look, they've been a competitive, defensive-oriented team for most of the season, so they'll compete, they'll play hard. We'll just see if they can score enough.
Unfortunately, I think it's me. This happens literally as I jumped on the bandwagon. I watched them come from 27 down to beat Dallas the other day. You've seen how well they've played since they made this roster readjustment, if you will, or whatever the word that Zach used was before the trade deadline. And now it just all goes completely kaput as LeBron goes down. Much more basketball as we continue.
But are we realistically going to expect Anthony Davis to all of a sudden get the Lakers to a 7th or 8th seed? Take me back to Nassau, baby!
Welcome to the 90s reggae channel known as Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. With Dave Williams and Freddie Coleman on ESPN Radio.
Oh, Freddie Nassau, my people out there.
Terra Fabulous in the building.
Just there.
Yes, indeed.
I miss y'all.
With ESPN app and also ESPNU. Let's keep the groove going when it comes to the NBA. She always does a fantastic job talking about the NBA and everything else. She is the Monica McNutt, ESPN NBA analyst. Hit on Twitter at McNutt Monica. Monica, now that we're here on the 90s R&B channel, also the reggae channel, we got LeBron James, and I'm sure he will go back to the 90s and be a little bit healthier. He's going to be out weeks based on the foot injury that happened on Sunday. What are your thoughts on the Lakers' chances when it comes to the near future making the playoffs?
Morning, Freddie. Good morning, Jay Will.
Morning, Monica. Good morning,
Monica.
Way to start the segment. Listen, I never had them getting into that 6th seed off the break. Mm-hmm. Do I think this is a team that can still be a 9-10? Yes. I think it is an incredible opportunity for Anthony Davis, and I love the sound that we came in with, Jay Will, because it may be somewhat counterintuitive to expect him to be the guy that now leads this ship. However, I do think it's a legitimate opportunity. 9-10 to me is not out of the question for them, even without LeBron. I mean, we got to see what happens with the T-Wolves in terms of their injuries. I don't expect Utah to hold where they are.
Right.
And Anthony Davis is an MVP caliber type of talent. Can you do this in, obviously, the most pivotal stretch of this regular season, but in a small sample size as we come down the stretch? I think it's an incredible opportunity for him to reinforce that he is something, or someone, I should say, that the Lakers should be looking to build around, because he's probably got more left in the tank than LeBron, I would think.
Monica, I typically and always see eye to eye with you on a lot of different subjects, but I have to really disagree with you on this.
Okay.
I can't say anymore and will not say anymore that Anthony Davis is an MVP type of talent. I can't. I used to. The line, he's a top 5 talent in the league, his MVP talent are things that I used to say. I can't say that anymore because MVP talent to me are people that can carry franchises and pull them, from the trenches. And I don't think I look at Anthony Davis like that anymore. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't equate to him not getting paid, big time money, because I think that the talent does deserve money. And this is a scarcity type situation in business where you need talent and you have to grab talent. But I don't think I see him that way anymore. Is that okay for me to push back on that comment that you made, or do you still see him as an MVP talent?
I think you are accurate in that assessment, Jay. Here's what I'm saying, though. I still think the MVP talent potential is in there. Now, this also becomes where potential is a backhanded compliment,
right,
because it means you have not achieved what's already there, yes, right? And so, yes, his track record, he has not been able to do that. But we've seen it in flashes, and so it's still in there. But if you were unwilling to still consider him in that category, I totally get that. I still buy that it's in there. Will it ever come to full fruition? I'm not sure. But if ever there was a window of time for him to do it with literally 20, yesterday was 21, 20 games left, this is far different than asking you to step into it for now an 82-game season. And so if we're going to get a flash of it, a bright flash of it, this is now the opportunity in my mind.
I agree. So I just want to set the record straight. Mm-hmm. Our bar is now that we're asking AD, who has MVP-like talent inside of him, which I agree with you, inside, mm-hmm, whether it translates or not is a different story. Mm-hmm. We're asking him to carry the Lakers to the 10th seed.
To the postseason. Say it differently, Jay. To the postseason.
10th seed, postseason, tomato, potato.
It's really not the postseason. It's the play-in to get to the postseason.
The postseason.
That's what we're doing with the second-tier talent for the Lakers. Like, just think about what we're saying out loud, Monica. I hear it. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me that we're asking that. Like, that's the expectation.
Now, okay, so I think you gotta take a step back a little bit. We gotta see the whole forest and not just the tree on this one.
All right.
Uh-huh.
The hole that the Lakers are in this season because of the poor roster construction, Freddie and Jay, that everybody in basketball could see 2 years ago,
Yep.
or at least a year ago for sure, is not per se AD's fault. Now, if LeBron is healthy and this team came into the season looking like this, do you buy that they are in a position to be fighting for a play-in spot?
Yes, if LeBron is healthy, and yes.
No, after the trade deadline team. So you don't think the post-trade deadline team is a team that would have actually been solidified in the West?
No, I think they would. I think they could have got to the 6th seed.
Okay.
I think they could have got to the 6th
Right,
seed.
and so I think the forest is bad roster construction, health issues, and here we are now talking about their second-tier talent making a push in 20 games to go to the postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's been an ongoing theme, though, Monica. You know, like I feel like for LeBron James, his 5 years with the Lakers, other than the bubble, it's been that theme of like health issues and whether AD's available, what's going on with him. And each year, I mean, LeBron James, the last 2 years, his minutes have gone up. And we keep asking LeBron James to do more. And they haven't really provided the right pieces around him. So that, to me, is more a reflection on management than anything.
I think you and I agree, but here we are sitting in this situation, right?
Yeah.
And so what is something that could give this Lakers organization hope to salvage this season? To me, they need to see an Anthony Davis that shows, hey, I can do this potentially without LeBron. Now, how much do you buy, again, a 20-game sample season?
Yeah.
I don't know, but at least to me, that is more productive than them flopping around another injury and they don't even get into the play-in.
Yeah, that's the last thing Lakers fans want to hear. Flopping around an injury next to Anthony Davis. They've seen enough of that to last a lifetime.